Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Taishan Bamegadadhara Daki Daki Neni Taishan Bamegadadhara Daki Nikate Advaita Shrini Vasa Chatradhara Vasi Yache Gaurachan Ratna Simhasane Bosi Yache Gaurachan Ratna Simhasane Bosi Yache Gaurachan Ratna Simhasane Arati Kore na Brahman Adideva Gane Nara Hari Azikori Chamaradulaya Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala Bahu Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala Galadeshe Banamala Kore Jalamala Galadeshe Banamala Kore Jalamala Narada Preme Gada Gada Shiva Shuka Narada Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gada Gada Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gada Gada Bhaktivedanta Deke Gaurara Sampada Bhaktivedanta Deke Gaurara Sampada Jaya Jaya Gaura Chander Arati Koshobha Jaknavita Tavane Jagamanalobha Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtita Deshatarine Namaste Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jaya Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe Raya. Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Паривраджика Ачарья Штотара Шата Шри Шримати Си Бхактивиданта Свами Шрила Прабхупада Ки Джай. Джай Ом Вишнупада Парамахамса Паривраджика Ачарья Штотара Шата Шри Шримати Бхактисиданта Сарасвати Госвами Махарадж Прабхупада Ки Джай. Джай Ом Вишнупада Парамахамса Шрила Гаура Кишор Дас Бабаджи Махараджа Ки Джай. Джай Ом Вишнупада Парамахамса Сачитананда Шрила Бхактивинода Такур Ки Джай. Jai Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Bhajanacharya Srila Narottama Das Thakur Ki Jai. Preme se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavana Dama Ki Jai, Shri Maipur Dama Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Kshetra Dama Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Прохлада, хлада, дайне. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Shila Tankana Kalaye Shila Tankana Kalaye Iton Risimha Paraton Risimha Yato Yato Yamitaton Risimha Bahir Nrisimha Hridayen Nrisimha Bahir Nrisimha Hridaye Nrisimha Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Danu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Avakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shri Shri Narasimha Bhagavan Ki Jai, Shri Shri Prahlada Maharaja Ki Jai.
follow you.
Finally paid.
Just put on.
Good. Hare Krishna. Okay, it's a bit loud, so I'll be a bit away from the mic. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Thira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna. Okay, so we're going to read from chapter 9, text 23. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. So again, chapter 9, text number. Actually, sorry, I might have read them wrong. Just opened up where the bookmark was. Just check that again. Yes, okay, yeah, it is 9:23. Okay, so I'll just recite the Sanskrit. Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva konteya yajanti aviti purvakam. Okay. So just go line by line now. Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha tepi mameva konteya yajanti aviti purvakam. Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitaha Tepi mamiva konteya yajanti avidipurvakam. Does anyone else want to repeat? Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shadayanvitaha tepi mamiva konteya yajanti avidipurvakam. So we just go word for word now. So ye, those who, api, also, anya, of other, devata, gods, bhaktaha, devotees, yajante, worship, shradaya anvitaha, with faith, te, they, api, also, mam, me, eva, only, kaunteya, O son of Kunti, yajanti, they worship, avidipurvakam, in a wrong way. Okay, so the translation. Those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. So we can repeat parts of that now. So those who are devotees of other gods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. Okay, so read the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Persons who are engaged in the worship of demigods are not very intelligent, although such worship is offered to me indirectly, Krishna says. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge or without observing regulative principles. Similarly, the process of rendering service to different parts of the body is to supply food to the stomach. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers and directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by the government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. This is stated here as avidipurvakam. In other words, Krishna does not approve the unnecessary worship of the demigods. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hi guys. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Panamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Matitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so I'll start off class by saying Krishna is the source of remembrance and forgetfulness, and yes, it can be in kirtan or during Mangalacharan, but this is the mercy of Krishna, humble, that's Krishna consciousness for you. And yeah, it's great to be back at the manor. It's been such a long time in this setting. Many people are now visiting, and we're all together now, so we can discuss this amazing verse. So this is found in the 9th chapter out of 18th chapter. The 9th is in the middle, and it's considered what you have in the middle is somewhat most important. If it's a sandwich, it's about the filling. It's not so much about the bread. But sometimes still people are picky about the bread, but it's what's the substance is in the middle. That's what we're interested in. So the same way, this 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, entitled The Most Confidential Knowledge, Krishna actually starts off the 9th chapter, I think it's 9 verse 2, is Raja Vidya Raja Guyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam, that this is the highest of all knowledge. Of the knowledge that I've given you, that's good, that's important. It's definitely important. But this 9th chapter, this is the real deal, right? And then it gets even more and more and more, right? And in the 9th chapter, we find many interesting verses. So many famous verses. We have the first view of Manmana Bhavamad Bhakto. This is repeated twice. So again, in the 9th chapter, and then again, I think it's the 18th chapter, like that. So again, there's some emphasis here. In the 9th chapter, we have Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhakta Prachati. So again, how to offer our worship, how to offer to Krishna. And he again doesn't miss out the sum and substance, which is with love, bhaktya, right? So this is the significance of the 9th chapter. It's a very, very powerful chapter. And this verse is also as striking as all of those verses, because in this context of the modern world that we're living in now, when we come to the manor or any other temple and associated with Hinduism, then we hear the word demigod or devata or deva. And where do we see the demigods? And Krishna even outlines in the Bhagavad Gita here, avidi purvakam. They worship me only actually, but they do it in the wrong way. And having looked at certain other translations, this avidi purvakam is actually often missed out. You don't want to upset anyone, so we need to get the tipex out. We need to, change that word, or we need to hide it, or say, oh, it's, Krishna doesn't mean it like that. Krishna's not like that. But actually, the Bhagavad Gita, it is truth. It's from the absolute truth. However, when we look at the absolute truth, when we look at the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most important parts of the Bhagavad Gita, the book Bhagavad Gita, is the purport. So there's an explanation. Because if we just go away with a verse, we go to a lecture and it's just quoting verses. But what is the meaning? What is the intention of the speaker, who is Krishna? Then we can understand a bit better. So again, Prabhupada expands in the purport. Very relevant analogy for now. Maybe not in the same context as Prabhupada's time, but he's talking about governments and following rules and regulations, etc. But again, Prabhupada's time, probably a nice prosperity there with people following what they do. But the analogy still stands, because it's that if the government sets out, okay, if you want to gain access to government, you've got the ministers and officials, right? You've got these different channels. And Prabhupada's making it very simple for us to understand, okay, the demigods are as such that they are to be as respected, right, as the representative of the government or the chief prime minister, like that. So we would never disrespect like that. We would actually see them in the correct light. And also, yes, this analogy of watering the root. I don't know if anyone has a plant at home and they've tried to water the leaves. It's actually the most chaotic thing you can try and do. The reason being is that when you put the water on the leaves, it's just going to drop all over the floor, because the leaves will just repel that water. So you just made a big mess. Now, if you just went to the root, then yes, the plant appreciates it, it goes in, it's all good. It's tidy like that. And the whole plant, benefits from that. It's not that, oh, I missed out, I really like that leaf, though it didn't get enough water. It's like, no, you put it to the root, then the root will automatically, everyone's pacified like that. The whole plant is like that. So again, very relevant analogy. Again, the body is to supply food to the stomach. The automatic function is there, that we don't have to make a separate endeavor. Again, like a modern day principle is you get these types of food or supplement that, oh, if you want your arm bicep to be bigger, then take this nutrition. But it's like, okay, but to be honest, when it goes into the body, it's up to the body. It's not up to your marketing. It's not up to you that, okay, it will go to this part, this part of your six pack, it will develop. It's nothing to do with that. You have no control. It's actually dependent on your body, right? So the body is the master in that case, not, the marketing director there. So like this, Prabhupada is saying that, okay, this is, or Krishna is outlining, if you worship the demigods, okay, but actually you're worshipping me. Yeah? So like this. So some examples I wanted to bring up is that even in Krishna consciousness, when we come to Krishna consciousness, and if you see these verses, we can often get bewildered. That, oh, okay, wait, wrong way. Wrong meaning don't do it. Okay, don't do it meaning ignore. Not quite. So what we mean in terms of the interaction with the demigods is actually of utmost respect. And respect is not necessarily just bowing the head or anything like that. It's actually, there's so many glories of the demigods. And that's sometimes outlined, within the Srimad Bhagavatam, certain parts Prabhupada elaborates on and so on, and why, someone would worship the demigods, etc. But the principle is that it's slightly more transactional. And the reason why I say transactional is that you want something, where do you go to? There's a demigod for it, right? There's so many millions of demigods, and okay, I want this particular attribute in my life to be better. Okay, you look on the list, you know where to pray, like that, and you receive. Now, the only thing is that often at times it's conditional. It comes with a lot of sacrifice, and then sometimes when we get what we want, it's not actually the best thing for us, right? Correct? So whether that's, one, again, sometimes read the mundane news, but someone's won the lottery. It's like, oh, that guy won the lottery. Oh, I didn't win the lottery. But then you find out the next day, he leaves his body or something. Or, he spent it all. Or whatever, and now he's broke. And the principle being that you have karma to get something, but you have karma to keep something as well. You have to have karma to hold what you have, right? It's not just karma that, oh, this guy's got great karma, he's got a lot of opulence. It's that, no, are they able to hold that? Are they able to retain that? Or does it just, in one hand and out the other? So like this, with the demigods and the benedictions that they give, they are temporary. The permanence isn't there. And also the reason for worshipping such demigods is dependent on the worshipper. So what is the mode of consciousness? What's the mode of nature? So we have examples of ignorance. So for example, I know Lord Shiva is, let's say he's a different category himself. Some say he's a demigod, but, we have other different understandings. But just taking an example, is that in the Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, I think it's the 88th chapter, there's a really nice pastime of, I think his name's Vrikasura. I might not have pronounced it correctly, but such a demon is there. And he is interested in, getting a benediction, and he really wanted a benediction. So Narad Muni crossed paths with him, and then he asked Narad Muni, okay, I want something, who's the best person to go to? And he said, oh, Lord Shiva's the one for you. The reason being is his name is Ashutosh, he's easily pleased. But on the other hand, if you, get on his nerves, then he'll burn you to ashes. So you have to be careful. But if he likes you and, you please him, then he'll give you what you need, right? Or he'll give you what you want, rather. So he said, fine, okay, and then he started doing some austerities. So nearby where Lord Shiva resides, he was doing some sacrifice, fire sacrifice, and he was also cutting off his flesh. And this is the type of sacrifice that a worship of Lord Shiva would, go to. Someone in the mode of ignorance is thinking like that, like, okay, let me sacrifice like this. And he was almost going to sacrifice his own head. But before that happened, then Lord Shiva appeared to him and said, hey, don't do that. What do you want? What's going on? Yeah, okay, I'm pleased. Tell me. And he said, my dear Lord Shiva, can I get the boon that whoever's head I touch, it shatters into 1,000 pieces? He said, okay, interesting boon, out of all the boons that I've heard of. Fine, tatastu. okay, you're a special character. We'll let you off this time. And he gives him such a boon, and then Rikasura, again, the demoniac mentality, the person in the mode of ignorance, doesn't benefit themselves and doesn't benefit others. That's all it is. Mode of ignorance. Tamagun is just destruction, 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 like this. So he thought, I need to test this out. I'm not sure if this has worked, so I need to test it, right? If I touch someone's head, then it's meant to fall off and, shatter. So he also noticed that, Lord Shiva's got a very nice, beautiful wife as well. Again, the symptom of mode of ignorance is that you see something that someone else has and you're like, yeah, I want that. And I'm going to get it off them, and I'm going to do what I need to do to get it off them. So so the demon, he actually started approaching Lord Shiva and he was like, oh, just 1 minute, you got something in your head. And he was about to touch his head. He's like, oh. And then Lord Shiva, again, transcendental, so he flies off. And this demon follows him and around the universe. So they go running. And then Lord Shiva goes towards the demigods in the higher planets as well. And they're like, oh, we can't help you. I'm sorry, we don't have much capacity here. We can't really do anything about that. You've given him the boon, what to do. And then he goes all the way towards Vishnu. And Vishnu, he transforms into a form to speak to this demon. And then, a brahmachari, that's it. I just get cautious of saying things because when you I refresh my memory on the internet and then they always change the story and I'm like, I don't want to Google story here, but if we got it confirmed there, that's good. Yes, it was a brahmachari. So he came to him and he said, what's this? Where are you going? What are you doing? He's like, oh, Lord Shiva, he said, this is what happens. This is the boon that if I touch someone's head, then it will shatter. He said, oh, no, Lord Shiva, no, he's a funny guy. He's a funny character. He doesn't, he doesn't mean what he says, and it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't work, And you know what? If you want to try, just touch your own head, and and then you can get angry at him for it not working. And I was like, okay, fair enough. And again, mode of ignorance is that you're switched off. You're not alert. You're not thinking. Basically, there's an absence of thought. So like, okay, fair enough. And then he touches his head, and he's gone, right? So this story illustrates that the mode of ignorance worshipper, there's destruction at the start, there's destruction at the end. Again, in the Bhagavad Gita, it describes the mode of ignorance that it's poison at the start and it's poison at the end. There's nothing fruitful about it. Then we have the mode of passion. So again, demigods may be worshipped by a person in the mode of passion because they want some fruit, right? Some result. Whether that's education, they worship, Mother Saraswati, wealth, Lakshmi, Devi, etc., like that, to remove obstacles, Ganesh, etc. Right? You can make a whole table and list of what you need to do. But then again, in the Bhagavad Gita, when it speaks about passion, is that it starts off like nectar. It feels pretty good. I've got the benediction, but then it ends like poison. And another aspect of the mode of passion is the desire, the yearning for the same thing again and again and again, and we can't quite get rid of it like that. And what happens in the mode of passion, and especially with that such worship, is that we just remain in the material world. There's no elevation, there's no kind of progress like that. But again, Krishna outlines in the Bhagavad Gita about if you worship the demigods, then you go towards the demigods. If you worship the ghosts and so on, then you go towards them. If you worship me, then you come to me, like that. And Krishna is outlining what the best deal is that it's to come to him. Reason being is that it's not temporary, it's eternal, where he lives, Goloka Vrindavan, like that. Another example as well is, so again, for demigod worship, is that whenever we go to the holy dham, then that's the place where's the first place that you go? When you go to Vrindavan, where you go to, anyone know? First place we must visit. Okay, Prabhupada's Samadhi, visit the ISKCON temple. Try not to go to Govinda straight away, but you'd want to go to Gopeshwar Mahadev. So you actually go to the Lord Shiva temple and you pay obeisances, you pay your respects and you pray. And what do you pray for is that actually this is guarded by you. This is guarded by you. And that when we go to Vrindavan, you either see the dirt on the street, someone spitting, all these different things, and then think, it's quite dirty, I'm not sure, a lot of plastic here, don't they know how to clean? This is God's town, maybe I should tell someone, or you won't think of doing it yourself, but you would tell the community to get on with it, right? But this is the mentality that one may have. And what is this? This is Maya. There's a curtain of illusion. And it's not that, the Dhamma's polluted with the illusion. It's that, no, it's covering it away and it's covering it from us, right? Because it doesn't want to bring that kind of tainted vision to the Dham. So if you step into the Dham and you have such a consciousness and a vision, you never actually go to the Dham. You're just there externally like this, but you're actually missing out on that mercy to actually contact that energy, to get closer to Krishna, because we're so caught up in the externals, in our own mind, in our own consciousness. And what happens is, it's all projection. Because our consciousness is like that. Then we see all these faults, all these mistakes, all these different things. But by going to Gopeshwar Mahadev, by going to Lord Shiva first, then we are actually praying like that actually this may be my mentality. I may be fallen actually. Somehow or other I've got here, but please allow me some access. Let me soak this up. Let me, get some mercy like that. So this is the importance of the Devatas, especially Lord Shiva. But again, like I said, sometimes they say he's not a demigod and etc. like that. But then moving on to an example of demigods is Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma says even in his own Samhita, so the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha, like that. So establishing the prevalence of Lord Govinda. The other verse in the Brahma Samhita, I think it's like 550, is about Ganesh. So Yat Pada Palva Yugam Vinidhaya Kumbha Dvande Pranama Samaye Ganadhirajaha Vigna Vihantam Alam Asya Jagatrayasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So this is referring to Ganda Adi Raja, which is Ganesh. And the verse describes that I pay my obeisances, my respect to Lord Govinda, and that whose lotus feet are placed on the head of Ganesh, in which he gains power to remove the obstacles. So again, this is what the full picture means. Because the half picture is that, oh, Ganesh removes obstacles. Yeah, okay, let me go for that, right? But the full picture is, where does he get the power from? Where does that come from? It's Krishna, like that. So again, these verses help us explain where the power and authority is coming from. So like this, even if we have any desire, we should always go to Krishna. So again, in the Bhagavatam, I think it's in the second canto from what I remember, or perhaps the first, skip my memory now. But there's a verse there, very nice verse. Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Like that. And this verse basically outlines that if one is full of desires, if one has no desires, right? So you're either full of desires, or you have no desires, or you have some desire. Whatever the case is, always worship Krishna, right? The Bhagavatam is very clear about that. So sometimes we may feel discouraged that, oh, I've actually got a material desire. Perhaps I shouldn't go to Krishna. I'm not pure, and yeah, Krishna's very pure. He's pavitram. All these qualities he has. But actually, one should definitely go towards Krishna. The more contaminated we are, the more we should be going in front of Krishna, the more we should be going to Krishna, like that. And what happens is that this gives us a kind of jump start in life. It gives us a jump start that when we get service, when we engage in Krishna's service, when we chant his names, when we do all these different activities, this is a jump start in our life, spiritual life. We may not have even wanted spiritual life. We didn't even want to be spiritual, but somehow or other it happened, right? But again, can we trace it out? No, because it's causeless mercy. When Krishna comes into your life, you're just like, wow, I don't know how that happened. It went from 0 to 60 in like a second. Before I was just like an average Joe, and now I'm just, or maybe still an average Joe in the temple, but still, like, you're just in a different place at least, right? So there's some kind of transformation like that. So yeah, the point is that we should always worship Krishna. And what's the difference is that even if you have material desires, one wants wealth, fame, prosperity, etc. One may, okay, we still have that desire, so on, and we're praying to Krishna, and Krishna may give. But generally what Krishna does is he gives us in such a way that's like, okay, I'll maybe think twice about that one actually, like that. Because he doesn't want us to go away from him. He wants us to come closer to him, like that. So the best way, of course, is to channel our desires in Krishna consciousness, to use whatever capacity we have, whether it's fame, wealth, all these different things, and we offer it to Krishna. And sometimes naturally some praise, adoration, prestige, all these things naturally come. And these are considered like weeds, because it's very easy to get caught up in that. Oh, Prabhu, you dressed the deities so nicely today, it's amazing. And then you're thinking, wait, this guy's praising me more than he's praising the deities now. And how do I take that? But actually we take it in a mood of humility, like that. So we're always humble. And the mood of humility, again outlined in the, I think it's the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 8 to 12, that it starts off with humility. Amanitva adamvitva ahimsa santimajavam. So that one should always remain humble. And this humility is, whether it's with Krishna, whether it's with the demigods, whoever it's with, we should always remain humble. And again, coming back to that point of when we come into Krishna consciousness, sometimes we read the Bhagavatam or we hear a story about how a demigod messed up. The demigod Brahma, he got so lusty, he started going after his daughter, and he said, wow, okay, Brahma, wow, there's some serious issues over here. No. It's actually to teach us a lesson or principle. To be in a position of Brahma takes so much austerity, so much penance. It's such a powerful, role to be in. The creator of the, to create. It's amazing. But actually, these stories are to teach us. Again, like Lord Shiva and Mohini Murti being allured. But again, these stories in the Bhagavatam are meant to teach us some principles and some lessons. And that we should never think that such, demigod or whoever's going through some episode, that it's a reflection of them and how bad they are. It's generally actually for us, and it's a life lessons for us, right? So say, for example, like even Ajamil in the 6th canto, we hear about how he was he was Pakka Brahmana. He followed everything very nicely to the T. And then he got allured by, seeing two people, a man and a woman getting close. And then he gave up everything. He gave up his Brahminical status, everything like that, and then he just went away and he fell away and he committed so many sinful activities. But again, like Prabhupada's quoted in a class from what I recall, is that nowadays there's many Ajamils. You look on the street, it's like, wow, you get allured by a billboard on the side, let alone someone actually being there. So like this Kali Yuga is very difficult to navigate. But yes, the demigods are always to be seen in the correct perspective, and that all we need to do is to worship Krishna, and in this way everyone is also pacified. Again, the point here is that what's Krishna saying about these different demigods? Say, for example, again, Lord Shiva in the 12th, I think it's the 12th canto, or maybe 11th, pretty sure it's 12th, is it says Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu, that actually Shambhu, Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava. You can't get a better Vaishnava than Lord Shiva, because he's always in trance of Krishna, he's singing his glories, etc. as well. So like this is to see the proper perspective. So I think that's pretty much the kind of thoughts I had or comments. But if anyone's got any points of discussion or any questions, then we can do that. Anything? What's that? Yes, so one may worship Krishna, and again, Krishna, as the Bhagavad Gita is going on, he's actually describing how to do that, how to worship Krishna. So let's see. So we've got 926 about what do you offer and how do you offer it. So he's saying the items, leaf, flower, fruit or water, but he's saying with love and devotion. Devoid of that, it's quite difficult, right? We don't have love, but what is it about? It's about whatever you have. Whatever you have. Let me just think about this verse. So in the 11th canto, Krishna speaks to Uddhava, the Uddhava Gita, and he says this verse. what is it? Jata Shraddha Mat Kathashu Nirvinna Sarva Karmashu Veditu Katmata Kaman Parityagi Pinishvara. He says that there may be a devotee who has faith in the glories of my narration. So someone who's got faith in Krishna's words. So is that all of us? We have some faith, right? Like we wouldn't be here at the temple unless there's a bit of faith, unless you're out for the prasad. But still, you have some faith in the prasad then, at least being good. There's some faith, right? Nirvina sarvakarmashu. So one who he knows, they know what should be done, right? Like as in you kind of get like, okay, I should be, pious, I should do these certain types of activities, etc. Like so that even knowing the rules and regulations, having faith in my narrations and glories, so I have some faith in Krishna, one is still not able to give up material selfishness. So one's still not able to worship the Lord, or there's some kind of apprehension that, I'm too fallen, I've got too much shame, too much guilt, all these different things are there. So the point is that, okay, what do we do about that? So then Krishna elaborates in the next verse. He describes to Uddhava. So he says, Tato bhaje tamam prita shraddha lur titanishchaya jushamanas tita kaman dukkha darsanta garhayan. So he says that whatever you have, give your all towards Krishna. Whatever it is, however much faith you have, however much determination, however much drive, offer that to Krishna. He says that perform devotional service. So, tato bhajet amam prita, this word bhaj, right? Bhajan, bhajate. So do this, worship me with all of your faith that you have. And in that way, surely you'll make that progress towards me, right? So there's this, again, this concept that if you take one step towards Krishna, he's taking 10 steps towards you. So even that small endeavor that we do, that will actually bring us very, very close to Krishna, very fast. And it's also progressive. So like you said that, we don't actually have much bhakti, etc. Yeah, fair enough. Like also a display of humility, but it may actually be a fact. Like, okay, bhakti is lacking a little bit here. But it's also that wherever you are, you need to progress to the next step. So it's as if Krishna consciousness was a ladder. We can't just stay at the bottom all the time. That, I put a plate in front of Krishna and I chanted Hare Krishna and that offered it. It's like, no, Prabhu, you know what the prayers are. You know that you should wait like 5 minutes and so on. You know you should try and cook it, or at least, do something a bit more. Then you won't get the same benefit, And who does that cheat? That just cheats ourselves. So in whatever capacity we're practicing Krishna consciousness, we should know where we are, where we've come from, because that will help inspire us that, back in the day, I used to open the Walker's packet of crisps and then just chant Hare Krishna and then eat one quickly, right? And now it's like, actually, I at least wait like, a minute or two, like, okay, Krishna's eating now. Okay, now I can eat, right? That's a great big progress, right? Maybe not in our eyes or mind, but it's like, wow, okay, I've changed here. And then what happens then is that, okay, I'm inspired. Let me carry on. Let me move forward. And then what's the next step? Okay, I don't cook. I'm not a cook. But let me try and cook. Let me try and cook for Krishna. And let me try and offer it. And then let me try and give it to someone else and so on. So we make that progression by looking at where we came from, where we are at the moment, and then where we want to get to. Now, where we want to get to, we might not be, in Arti and thinking, wow, that Prabhuji is like offering Arti. Maybe I'll become a Brahmana, Okay, we're going to try in this life and so on. But again, let's see. Okay, Prabhu, you might need to take initiation first. Then we can talk about, other things in life. But again, it's where's the next step? What's the next step that I need to take? And then go from there like that. So yeah, Krishna always says that even, again, a very nice verse in the 9th chapter, 30th verse, Api chet sudaracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak, right? Sadhureva samantavya. That even if one commits the most abominable activity, one does the worst thing imaginable, if they're still in devotional service, if they're still practicing, if their still intent is to serve and love Krishna, then they should be considered saintly. And I know for my mind that I see someone and I hear something about them, I'm like, ooh, that Prabhu is fallen, man. Like, he shouldn't show his face in the temple anymore, like that. But what does Krishna say? Sadhureva samantavya, right? The person may not consider that, because why? It's humility, and also that we're naturally fallen, etc. But that verse is especially for ourselves to see others as well, that actually whatever happens, someone makes a fault, never criticize. Never, never judge. And reason being is that actually, if they're still intending to take devotional service, if they're still intending to chant, still intending to serve devotees, still, showing face, then that is a big thing. Because Krishna says, sadhureva samantavya. And again, the word even darshan. What does darshan mean? To see, right? But who's seeing? Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur makes this point. Who's the seer? When we go in front of Krishna, it's like, oh yeah, I'm seeing you, Lord, today. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. I'd like this today. Your garden looks good, Lord, very nice. No, Krishna's looking at us. He's like, very nice. This person has actually come. He's come all the way from Wembley, driven in the car, put maybe a few pounds in a donation box or, transferred, and then he's in front of me. That's nice, right? He's elated. He's actually elated that out of all the things you could have done in the material world, you decided to come in front of him. It's a very big thing, right? For example, again, that verse 930, that if, one messes up in spiritual life, something, terrible happens, someone falls, all this type of stuff. But to go in front of Krishna, you literally feel that Krishna can look straight into your heart. That even though there's so much turmoil, there's so many things going on in your life, but Krishna is always there. He's there even when you're at home, in front of the TV, because he's always there. He's Paramatma. So there's no worry about that. But we don't use that excuse to be like, oh, okay, Krishna's looking at me within, like, with the looking at the TV with me. No, it's not like that. He's within, but again, how do we activate? How do we go towards the Paramatma? That's by practice. Bhaktivedanta Thakur says this, that there's a method of contacting the super soul. And how do we do that? We do that by bhajan. We do that by practice. We do that by simple things, like even one of them I just remembered is that to be truthful and not to steal helps us to actually come closer to the Paramatma, right? And you might think that, no, I thought it would be like Chant Hare Krishna, this, that, and other. No, because what's the saying? As the saying goes, first be conscious, then be Krishna conscious. So like that, when someone comes into the temple, they should see exemplary behavior from, people. Like that, because we're trying to develop very good qualities, because before you get to Shuddha Sattva, before you get to the, pure goodness, you have to be in mode of goodness, right? We're often trying to make all these jumps because we might see, I say, oh, I'm a bit in mode of ignorance, mode of passion. Yeah, I'll be, pure goodness tomorrow. No, it takes time, it takes effort, it takes, energy, and Krishna is the one that provides that, like that. So, in conclusion, just worship Krishna. Whatever you got, again, he says that, yat karoshi, yat danasi, yat johoshi, dadasi yat, right? That whatever you do, whatever you have, whatever you give away, etc., just do for me. That's it. So one point I'll actually just mention is Sachinanda Maharaj gives this very nice point. He says that there's a sacred heart, the sacred heart model, and that actually there are 3 hearts. So the outermost heart, this is from what I remember, maybe it's the inverse, but let's just say for this one, the one of the hearts, let's say, is the 9 processes of devotional service. So as Prahlad Maharaj outlines, Shavanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, etc., right? The 9 processes of devotional service. And so that's one of the hearts, right? So you actually do one of the 9 processes of devotional service. So you either hear, chant, remember, worship, etc., like that. And then the second heart, it represents we do it for Krishna, right? Because we could just be chanting kirtan and then we're thinking, oh yeah, that person's really clapping, enthusiastic, like, they're spurring me on. But then you forget about Krishna completely. We're just in our own zone and we think it's like some jazz band or something. But no, it's for Krishna, right? So you do one of the 9 processes of devotional service, you do it for Krishna, and there's one other heart, and that's I'd say it's the central heart. So you've got the 9 processes, you've got the for Krishna, and you've got one last thing you need to do. And the last thing we need to do is do it in a favorable mood. So if one performs the 9 processes of devotional service, if one does it for Krishna, and if one does it in a favorable mood, then that is devotional service. That's pure devotional service, right? And many a times when we read the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, and then we ask someone, oh, what does pure devotional service mean? And then someone says, no, that's pure. That's not what we do. We can't do pure. We can only do mixed. No, you can do pure. No one's saying that you can't do pure, but it's going through these channels and thinking, wait, did I do one of the 9 processes of devotional service? Did I do it for Krishna? And did I do it in a favorable mood? And often at times we'll stumble on all 3. That I did one of the 9 processes of devotional service, but not really well because, I don't know, whatever the case is, right? Like I was trying to remember Krishna and then suddenly I remembered something else and etc. There's some fault there. Fine. Okay. And then we try and do it for Krishna, but then again we get sidetracked. So we're looking at the prasadam plate, we're offering it to Krishna, and then we just keep on staring at the prasadam plate because we're like, oh, I can't wait to eat that, right? So then again, it's kind of crumbled now again. That it's not really for Krishna because it's like, I'm really hungry and I had to make that, and Krishna, I need to get back to work, please, eat. And then the last one is in a favorable mood. That often at times, let's say vandanam, one praise. Sometimes we may pray to Krishna, and it may be, let's say, thank you, Krishna, and so on, and there's some turmoil that happened in your life. Now, there may be some humility to do that, but often, sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment, you're actually begrudgingly praying. I don't know if anyone's had that. Like, hopefully it's just more kind of, you've been crushed enough in life and you're actually praying to Krishna that, oh, thank you for this and so on like that. But sometimes it's very hard to churn. And in that way, we could be doing it in not a favorable mood, right? Begrudgingly, etc., like these type of things. And the example given is like of Kamsa. Kamsa was, what was he doing? He was doing Vishnu Smaranam. He was always thinking of Krishna. Amazing, right? I was like, damn, if I can even just get to that point, it's like amazing. Constantly thinking. And it was for Krishna because it was towards Krishna. He was thinking of Krishna. But the one thing he lacked was a favorable mood. So therefore he got the result, which was, okay, you don't quite, make it there. You get some liberation or something like that, and that's your result. So like that, if we follow this process of the 9 processes of devotional service, for Krishna in a favorable mood, then very quickly we can make some progress towards becoming pure devotees and etc. like that. So yeah, I think that's covered it. If anyone has anything more, any thoughts? Anyone? Oh yeah. Yeah, I think the first thing, book distribution, I probably did years, but actually no, a few months ago. But even then, I was watching someone else do it and trying to learn the ropes. But I get the feeling. Yeah, friend. Yeah, of course, you meet many people. So I think the first thing is just in terms of a very internal thing is that we know that everyone has Krishna within their heart. So when we're talking to someone, it's never face value. It's not that, oh, this person's really into demigod, but yeah, externally fine and they don't know, maybe not know any better in that respect, but this is the super soul. Let's talk to the super soul here. Krishna's in there. All right, let's churn that, right? So that's just in terms of preparing. But in terms of speaking or approaching, I think the best thing to do for us, and if we know that we're going to meet someone, say for example a friend, it could be a school friend, etc., is that we should at least know our understanding of demigods as well. Because it's very difficult to just go to someone and say, brush that off and say, oh, no, trust me, Krishna says, no, he says, worship him. That's better, just do that. But then the thing is, you're not meeting them from where they are at, you're meeting them from where you are. And you might be here, well, I'm a Krishna, and you're not even worshipping demigods, you're just got a picture on your altar or something, that's all, right? But what happens is that if we meet them from where they are and where their stance is, then it's easier. So it's obviously education and training for us to know that, oh, Lord Shiva, yeah, he's amazing. He's actually the topmost Vaishnava. It says in this book, the Bhagavatam, that, Vaishnava Namyata Shambhu, it outlines his pastimes in the 8th canto, here, etc. Him and Krishna did this, or it's like knowing certain points, and those touch points are very powerful. Whether it's with Ganesh, etc., like that. So I think having some good understanding, not to say that you're an encyclopedia of that, but you have some appreciation or something that you can say something very positive and bridging the gap. And the other thing is, yes, what do they say about Krishna? That's important. So again, what does Brahma say about Krishna? We know. What does Lord Shiva say about Krishna? Right? So he says that the worship of Krishna is the topmost, like that. So again, if we learn that, not necessarily the Sanskrit, but just the word translation, etc., where it's from, then that also helps. So yeah, that's probably my approach. I'm sure there's other approaches and different considerations, but I feel it's important to meet people from where they're at, because otherwise we're just thinking, okay, this book is like a gun, like it's just going to shoot. It's like, no, nicely, calm, see the receptivity, etc., like that. And yeah, it may just be a long relationship as well. Like book distribution can be quite a quick thing. Like, okay, I've got 5 minutes, I need to get you the book. But if it's like a sustained relationship, that you're into demigod, why don't you just come to the temple? Because that's like a universal thing. Like no one says, that's a Krishna temple. Nah, I won't get a ticket into there. It's like, no, anyone can come. Why don't you just come with me, etc. And then like that. And sometimes it's like, anyway, this can be a motivation, but for demigods, it's like, wait, he's got power. Like when you see Lord Shiva, he's always, some people say that he's got a ganja and all this stuff, and that's what inspires them, right? But then you take them to the temple and you show them the Shingadev, and they're like, oh wow, like this, this Vishnu Tattva's got like biceps and everything. He's got like 1,000,000 arms, and he's ripping someone up. Oh wow, this is even cooler. Like, not to disrespect anyone else, but it's like, okay, you guys got everything that I'm looking for. So there's something that they're looking for, and if you find what that something is, then you can pacify it. So again, like, if it's prosperity and etc., then we've got, if you want to be prosperous, then we can also, assist. Chant this mantra. Although it may make you like not so rich, but anyway, whatever it is. Was there something else? Oh yeah. Mm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah, exactly. So even Lord Shiva outlines that, yes, worship Krishna is, high, but even higher than that is to worship the devotee of Krishna, like that. And then also, again, Arjun and Krishna, I think, are speaking, maybe it's in the Mahabharata, but that point about the devotee who thinks he's the devotee of me is not actually my devotee, but the devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee, like that. And that point's very significant, actually, that when we're talking about demigods or we're talking about Krishna and we're talking about worship, is that we don't want to be the neophyte devotee, right? So the neophyte devotee just considers, it's me and it's Krishna, and we've got a relationship, and we stroll into the temple room and we're like, okay, me and Krishna are having a meeting here and everything else, but we actually ignore the other devotees. We behave harshly, we're critical, etc., like that. But actually, a higher devotee, Madhyamadikari, he considers that, no, it's the temple, it's me and Krishna, but it's also the Vaishnavas, like that. And it's that Sangha, right? Out of all limbs in devotional service, Sangha is considered like the topmost because it's like the glue, right? If someone, you heard of the ABCD, right? Like someone says association, if you want to say Krishna consciousness, what is it? It's association, it's books, it's chanting, and D is a bit controversial, but they say like diet or distribution, or I might have had another D somewhere, I don't know what else there is, but whatever it is. But actually association is the key. Association is what really keeps us going. I don't know, even from my experience, going to a different place for university, etc., and bead bag in one hand, etc., and it's like, go to university, and then you're like, okay, we're chanting like one less round a day, and then it's like that. So association is what actually keeps us going. It's what pulls us through. And actually, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a verse. The late Jankinath Prabhu really liked this verse. He kept on reciting it to me in the ashram. And when you want to learn a verse, you should just pester a devotee with the verse. Like, just keep reciting it to them, and then it's like, okay, cool. Now someone else remembers it as well as them. But he kept on reciting Sadhu Sangha Sarva Sasti Koi, Lave Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoi. That Sadhu Sangha, that this Sangha with a devotee, even a moment's association with that devotee can get us all the benefits from all the revealed scriptures, like that, right? So that potency is there, that if we just spend even a small amount of time with someone who's got love of Krishna or someone who's got that advancement, etc., then we can make leaps and bounds of progress. And this is an important point, that any point that there's discouragement, we go to Krishna, but we also go to a devotee. Because a devotee is there to provide loving interactions and dealings. So again, this is given in the nectar of is it nectar? Yeah, it's nectar of instruction. Dadati pratigranati guyam akhyati prachati bhunkte bhojete chaiva sadvidam pritilakshanam, like that, right? So to reveal one's mind in confidence and to hear one's, another person, to give and receive gifts, and the same with prasadam, like that. So this is the power of association, and often at times, like if we get some maha, if we get something like, oh, Gurudev, give me some maha in my hand, like wow, I'm never going to wash my hand again, like that mentality is there. But then the next minute we're sitting on the sofa watching TV. So where's Gurudev's mercy gone now, right? What's happening? Again, if that happens, it happens, but we need to have the sincere intent or the push towards Krishna consciousness, the real deal. Because the thing is that Gurudev may keep giving, but there's no change in character, there's no change in heart, and then what to do? We're left like that. So it's very important that when we get the mercy, when we associate with devotees, when we see them in the proper light, then we should hold on to that and bring the memories, the impressions, samskar. Samskars in Kali Yuga are rampant, they're crazy. The amount of samskars we get, again, like the example I gave you of a billboard, you're innocently trying to go to Soho Street. You're trying to go to the temple. Krishna knows you're trying to go to the temple. But suddenly you go past the bus stop. And even on the bus nowadays, the billboards are, like, wow, why would you put that on the billboard? Like, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. And then suddenly we carry that with us. We carry it with us wherever we're going, etc., like that. But the point is that in terms of samskar, is to get a samskar out, you need to push something in, right? I don't know if anyone's had this in school, but I remember these pens where there'd be like little modules of the pens, like in the pen, and you had to push one up to get the other one out, like, coloring and all that stuff. And, when you were the first one in your year group to get that, they'd be like, oh, wow, you can afford that pen, amazing, right? But again, samskars like that you push one in, then you get the other one out. Otherwise, you're not getting that other part of the pen out. So like that, in terms of samskar, is that we should always remember the interactions with the Vaishnavas, the opportunities of service, because these are the things that stay with us, and these are the things that we want at the time of death, ultimately, right? Antakale chamameva smaram muktva kalevaram. We want to remember Krishna at the time of death. For example, like I remember going to Vrindavan 4 years ago, and I went with Sutapa. And then he said, oh, you're leading Nishinga Arti today. I was like, what? I'm like half awake. Like, I don't even know what's going on right now. I'm not even sure, like, I haven't paid obeisances, Prabhu. Like, let me get woken up a little bit. And it was the most terrifying experience of my life. And it's kind of like shameful to say that in Vrindavan, but oh my God, I have to sing in front of people. What? This is too much, right? And then I was, I think I got to play kartals. And then I kept on looking at him and saying, Prabhu, what's the next line? What's the next line? He's like, Prabhu, you've been in Nishingadev Arti hundreds of times. You are there. What's the difference now? I was like, Prabhu, it's Vrindavan, please, next one. And he's like, Tava. And I was like, oh, Tava, God. And I was like, okay, cool. Right? We're getting the Nishinga Arti right. And my heart was throbbing, and I was thinking, I really don't want to make a mistake. This is Vrindavan. This is where pure people are, and somehow I've, squirmed in here, and they haven't detected me yet. So, okay, let me just keep chanting and so on. And then we got to the end, and I was like, oh my God, I made it. I might have just finished this. And then I sang, I finished, and then it was that moment where you finish an arti, and you're like, what do I say now? Like, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. And then I didn't say anything, and I just kept on smiling at Sutapa like, oh, we made it. We did it. We got through that arti. And then one of the Vrindavan Vasis started saying, what's it called? Like all glories to the Vaishnavas in Sanskrit. I've forgotten now. So all glories to all the Vaishnavas. And then he said that, and he looked at me in a stern look, like, "Oh, you should have said that, Prabhu." And I was like, "Oh." Anyway, at least I got through it, right? So like that. And then I actually, after the arati, I walked around, and we were going towards the flat. And then I said, "Oh, yeah, what was the big deal of like pushing me? Like, as in, you don't force people in Krishna consciousness, right? Like, that's the fear that you get. Like, when you meet a Hare Krishna in the books, and it's like, oh, this guy's going to push me, and, like, I don't even want it, and I'm going to take it, and so on." And I thought, wait, I've been around like 10 years, and I feel that this Prabhuji is pushing me in Vrindavan, like, it's a bit too much, I don't want to take the book. I don't want to take the arati. And he said, "No, the reason why I got you to do this is that it's going to be a samskar. And that samskar, that when that time of need comes, this is what's going to count. This is what you can remember. Out of so many samskars that happen throughout life, if you put these positive impressions of Krishna consciousness in, especially things which we're like, wow, I never thought I'd do that. I never thought, I'd never, someone will push you. You have to take it. You have to take the mercy like that. And you may not see it like that. It might be at the cost of embarrassment, of all these different thoughts and so on. But the thing is that samskar really pushes those things out as well, right? So that's the mercy of a Vaishnava, that they will put you in the right place at the right time to do the right thing. And even if there's some fault in it, what does Krishna say? In every endeavor, in every action, there's some kind of fault. So we just have to continue with our duty, what we're instructed by a Vaishnava, to get that mercy, to follow the instructions, to get the good samskar, and surely we'll make some progress, right? Point of Krishna consciousness is progress, not perfection. We hear a lot about perfection, but it's about progress. It's about how do we get there, like that. Any last point? Okay, good. Thank you. I think this was an enlivening discussion for myself. Like, my brain feels it. So it's like, okay, yeah, what else is there that Krishna says? But yeah, this is the amazing, just the opportunity to serve like this is nice. I'd love to say that, practice what I preach. And yeah, there's some days that you think, okay, I could do better. But again, that's the point of taking these services is, when you get your hand in the bead bag and then you think, oh, wait, I'm giving class tomorrow. All right, I better chant properly now. At least I should put a bit of an extra endeavor, like that. So, yeah, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare নাম গায় গোরাচাঁদ মধুর সদে এই নাম গায় গোরাচাঁদ মধুর সদে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে হরে এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর স্বরে এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর স্বরে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ হরে কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 রাম রাम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Na Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Bala Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Bala Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Bala Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর সদে, এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর সদে, হরে কৃষ্ণ, হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ, হরে হরে। এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর স্বরে, এই নাম গায়ে গোরাচাঁদ মধুর স্বরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ, হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ, হরে হরে, হরে রাম, হরে রাম, রাম রাম, হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ, হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ, হরে হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ, হরে কৃষ্ণ, কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ, হরে হরে, হরে রাম, হরে রাম, রাম রাম, হরে হরে, হরে রাম, হরে রাম, রাম হরে, হরে কৃষ্ণ, হরে কৃষ্ণ, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna